Hi, Gary Stearman. Time for another daily update from Prophecy Watchers. Got some good news to share with you concerning our friend Avi Lipkin of Jerusalem, Israel, and this little book. He wrote this back in 2006. It's called Israel's Bible Bloc, and we've offered this book for a long time here at Prophecy Watchers. But Avi has some great news. His plan, as announced in the book that he wrote, was to create a political party that would become part of Israel's parliament, or Knesset as it is called. And Avi visited us recently. In fact, on his last trip here, I talked with him for a few minutes about his plans to form that political party. Let's revisit that right now. And Avi, for 10 years now, you've been telling us about Israel's Bible Bloc. I'm going to hand you this book and let you tell our audience about the progress you've made recently.
Okay, well, firstly, as you all can see, this is my book number 4 out of 7 books offered by the ministry here. And this book talks about the creation of a political party in the Israeli system. We have 33 parties. Our party will be 34. And the idea is to give representation not only to Jews of all different stripes, but also Christians of all different stripes. And the party will stand for Judeo-Christian Western civilization and democracy. I would take the liberty of saying kind of like what made America great for hundreds of years. And unfortunately, today in America, it seems like America's moving away from those values. But in Israel, I see a country which I love very much. I've been in Israel 48 years. Wow. I've served in the Israeli Army Reserves for 30 years in different capacities. I love Israel. My life is in Israel. My wife is in Israel. My kids, my grandkids. But I see that the political structure in Israel is based on 4 primary electoral blocks. We have Islamic, representing the Muslims of Israel. We have ultra-Orthodox, representing different types of ultra-Orthodox groupings in Israel. We have socialist communist. And then we have Likud plus a few maybe liberal parties. But what we don't have in Israel today is a bloc representing those who believe in the Bible. Israel's Bible Bloc, and that's the name of this party. Also another thing, the Christians today in Israel are 8% of our population. 2% Arab Christian, 6% Russian, Ukrainian Christian. Of course, we have some other groups like Armenians, 20,000. We have Messianics, around 15,000. The total amount of Christians in Israel today is about 450,000 Christians, 300,000 Russians, 100,000 Arabic-speaking Christians, Armenians, 20,000, Messianics, 15,000, smattering of different types of Christians from the West. 450,000. Now, it takes 140,000 votes to get the first 3 members of Knesset in from our list. In Israel, you run by lists. You don't run by individuals per district like in America. So you have to pass a threshold of 140,000 votes. We theoretically, in potential, could have 450,000 votes, which would mean 12 members of Knesset. And of course, the 6% of the population, which is Russian Christian, is married to 6% of the population, which is Jewish, and they too will vote for our party. So that will represent another 6 to 8 members of Knesset. So this party, if everything is optimized, and if we have a budget, for radio, TV, newspapers, and we can get out to the knowledge of everyone, we would have one of the biggest parties in the Israeli Knesset. And this would happen tomorrow. I mean, whenever the elections would be called.
The Bible Bloc Party. Think of it. A party dedicated to the idea of the truth of the Bible, to Judeo-Christian concepts and history and culture. I can only wish the same thing for the United States.
Well, it is what the United States used to have.
Right.
I would say until 100 years ago.
Right.
And what we see happening, of course, in the last 100 years is a steady distancing by the leadership of America away from God, away from the Bible, which I think is a cause for terrible mourning. And I don't know if you remember, there was a great historian, Alexis de Tocqueville.
Oh, yes.
And he wrote 200 years ago. And he said, the American people will be the greatest people on earth because the American people are good people and their pulpits are on fire for the Lord. And then conversely, he went on to say, when America's pulpits will no longer be on fire for the Lord, America will lose its preeminence in the world. So I think that there is definitely a justification for this party. And in addition, and we've spoken about this many times on your show, and that is that ISIS has promised to annihilate the Jews of America, Jews of Canada,
Yes.
Jews of Europe. And because in America there's an 80% intermarriage rate with Christians, when the ISIS people come to kill the Jews, they're going to kill the Christian spouses too, and children of the intermarriage.
Now, that brings a question to my mind. You're talking about the future. We believe, of course, that Israel is back in the land as a fulfillment of Bible prophecy. The Old Testament speaks everywhere of the latter days when Israel would be brought back to the land would blossom as the rose, the people would prosper, all of which is happening. And also, there's this negative influence all around Israel, people who are saying they'd like to wipe Israel out to the last person, which of course is not going to happen because we've read the end of the Bible. We know how it all comes out. But having said that, what's going to be the thrust of the Bible Bloc Party? How do you plan to influence Israeli society?
Well, you have in Israel today, like I said before, 4 primary electoral blocs. You have the Islamic bloc, which of course does not believe in the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. They believe in the moon god, war god, and sword god of Ishmael.
And yet they're allowed in the Knesset.
Well, they represent a constituency.
Yeah.
Okay. Then you have the ultra-Orthodox Jews, who I love very much, but their focus is on a collection of books known as the Talmud, or as we say in Hebrew, Gemara. The Gemara is a collection of rabbinical debates, rabbinical studies, and I think we call it exegesis. Things that appeared in the Bible interpreted by rabbis 1,500 or 2,000 years ago, which is great. But nobody looks anymore at what the Bible says straight out. In Hebrew, we call it pshat. Pshat means the simple, clear reading what it says in the Bible.
Reading with understanding.
Yeah, and trying to understand certain words which have gone overlooked. So my party is doing that. Now, of course, communists and socialists and certain what you call liberals, we're not really liberals, they're socialist totalitarians. The idea is these people don't believe in God at all, they're atheists. And then there are people, very great people in the Likud and other parties who are traditional and believe in things that all of us should believe in. But what we don't have is a political party that believes in Western civilization and democracy, which came out of the Old Testament, Tanakh, the New Testament, Greek philosophy, Roman republicanism, the Renaissance, and of course the Enlightenment of the 17th, 18th centuries, the abolition of slavery by Lincoln and by other Western countries, and of course women's suffrage in the 1920s with Susan B. Anthony. All of these progressive moves are part of what I call Judeo-Christian Western civilization and democracy, meaning women have a very special role to play. No people should ever be enslaved. I think it was Kennedy who said, John F. Kennedy said, if one person is enslaved, we are all enslaved.
Yeah.
We are not free till everyone is free. And there's terrible slavery in the world caused primarily by Islam. So I see this as a clash of civilizations between Western civilization and Islam.
And you're on the cutting edge. And this I find amazing. It's great to talk to you because I know that your zeal, your drive, your belief, I think you have a mission.
Thank you. I believe so too. And I thank God that God has allowed me to live until this time and to be able to do what I'm doing.
Hand me the book again, and I'm going to hold it up so that everybody can see it. You can go, by the way, to our online bookstore. Just scroll down. You come to all of Avi's books. How many do we have there now? We have
7 books now.
7 books, a good biblical number. 7 of Avi's books, one of which is Israel's Bible Bloc, all about his plans to join the Knesset and represent a Judeo-Christian faction of believers, people who have faith in what the Bible says, people who are led by the Lord, and I think this is a remarkable goal that you've set here.
I think also Jews and Christians are praying together for the coming or the return of the Messiah. So for the Jews, of course, it's the coming the first time, Christians the second time, but we all agree that the Messiah is a Jew from Israel who speaks Hebrew. And the Jewish definition of the Messiah is he's coming not only for one group, he's coming for everyone. And so I think God is setting up the stage here for many, many different peoples from many different nations to move to Israel and to be there at the foot of the Mount of Olives on that great day. And the Bible Bloc Party will prepare for that day.
Isn't it great to look back on that conversation with Avi? But what's really great is to see what's happened in the days since. Just a couple days ago, Avi made an announcement about the Bible Bloc Party. I want to share that with you right now.
I'm happy to announce that after 11 years of very strenuous efforts, the Bible Bloc Party, known in Hebrew as Gush HaTanachi, Tanakh is the Old Testament, Gush HaTanachi, the bloc, B-L-O-C, of Jews and Christians together who believe in the Tanakh, believe in the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, believe in the two most important commandments, love the Lord thy God, love thy fellow as thyself, believe in the 10 commandments. This is like the platform. This is the basis of this new party, which will give, God willing, representation to Christian as well as Jewish citizens of Israel to be in the Israeli Knesset. What we have now is the following. Our lawyers, Caleb Meyer's office, and Yair Feiglin, who is the one who's actually doing the groundwork now, has submitted a list of 111 signatures to the Ministry of Justice. About a month ago, we had the list approved by the Ministry of the Interior, and now we are going through the Ministry of Justice Registrar of Parties. Our lawyer submitted this electronically a few weeks ago. We are now waiting, bureaucracy, we're waiting for the final green light to submit master hard copy file. This then has to be reviewed. This takes like 42 days. So I'm hoping that sometime in July, we should be having the final green light approving the existence of this new Judeo-Christian party to run for the Knesset. We will then be able to start campaigning. Politics anywhere in the world requires millions of dollars because, as you know, radio, TV, newspapers, offices, secretaries, accountants, insurance, gasoline, vehicles, these things require tremendous amounts of money, which, of course, we do not have. We have paid $36,000 to Caleb Meyer's office, which includes $18,000 for the Knesset bond and $18,000 for the lawyer's fees, more or less, plus minus. So we don't owe any money. We've submitted the names. As far as I'm concerned, I've given my word, I've kept my word. I want to say Jews and Christians believe that the Messiah is a Jew from Israel who speaks Hebrew. I believe that the Messiah's time is not very far away. I believe that in preparation for the coming or the return of the Messiah, according to the Christian thinking, I believe we will become the biggest party in the Knesset. This party will prepare the way for the coming of the Messiah and for Israel according to the borders promised in Deuteronomy 11. Thank you and shalom.
Wasn't that great? Congratulations, Avi. We're rooting for you. We're going to be praying for you. And by the way, to all the rest of you, if you want to read about Avi's plans, they're right here in this book entitled Israel's Bible Bloc. It's in our online bookstore right here at prophecywatchers.com. Have a great day in the Lord, and we'll talk to you soon.